10 is up.
And they are underway, as they will say this afternoon in the big old horse race that's going on in San Diego. Yeah, you can see on your screen, Cal Baptist has opted to be on the far left-hand side there in the gold over blue. The Lancers have got some sort of strategy planned here for the first 75 meters. There's only 9,025 meters to go, but early on they were the leaders. So the first mile is very much the same on the men's course as the women. We missed a couple of kilometers during the women's race. We'll see if we can't do a better job of keeping you posted as we go through the men's race. But they make a left turn when they get to the tree line, and you can see that upcoming here shortly. And that is actually where Ash Creek is, and that's how the preserve got its name here. We talked a little bit about the course in advance of the women's championship race, and it appears to be an easy one, a flat one, but there are some berms, and we are standing on one of them just past the 3,000 meter mark, and the men go through these 4 times, and so they are going to have their rhythm interrupted, and that, once you get into a rhythm in a cross-country race, can sometimes be devastating. So we shall see how that pans out as well. But for the most part, a good start here, and we'll look for a 1,000-meter time and then give you a mile time as well.
Cross country is that interesting mix, Dixon, where you get the runners from literally track events from 800 meters up to 10,000, and in international cross country, marathon. So the range of the people out here is far greater than if you just look at a 5K or even a 10K on the track. Well, it's generally just the specialists in that area.
I can tell you that range extends even further. A fellow by the name of Khalifa Rosser, who was a year ago was the national Division II champion in the intermediates, and then ultimately went on to be a finalist in the U.S. Olympic trials in the intermediate hurdles. Ran all season long for Cal State Los Angeles. Probably didn't enjoy one single step of it, but knew it was going to benefit him in terms of strength as an intermediate hurdler. He, however, is not in this race. I looked for his name on the entry list, and it was not included. So his season ended in the conference meet.
1,000? Yeah, 259.
Okay, 259 through 1,000 meters, and so we're at about 4:42, 4:43 pace. Comfortable, and you can see that no separation has taken place here at this point in time, as they'll make another left turn and head right back down the center of the course again, and at that point in time we'll be very close to the mile. We'll get you that split as well.
3 Alaska, 3 Chico in the top 10 at this point, early on.
Alaska Anchorage in the green over black, Chico in the white over maroon have pretty good representation in the top dozen or so as they make that next left turn, and we're just a couple hundred yards away from a mile.
Now among the others up there in that top group, Jorgensen from Simon Fraser, and both of our Nading and Rivich, Western Oregon, and our mile coming up.
All right, we are looking at a mile almost directly across from where we are. I don't know how accurate that was, because we've got 5:07 on our watch, and they're certainly traveling at a bit faster pace than that. But you can see the team battle's already beginning to shape up just a little bit here. We can see Nading and Rivich on the left-hand side of the pack. Looks like Henry Kangogo leading for Alaska Anchorage. He's at the front of this still very large group. By this point in the women's race, Caroline Kurgat had made her presence known in no uncertain terms and ran away with that women's championship. But it's going to be a little different story here for the men. Now they turn to the right, and as they make that turn, they'll be coming into the berms. So 2K at 6:04 total, so 3:05 for that kilometer, and once again, by our reckoning, they're going to be just a little bit under 5-minute mile pace. They're about 4:52 pace for the mile as they go through 2K. And they're going to come right past us, so we're going to get an opportunity to see who looks comfortable and who doesn't. At this point in time, pretty much everybody is comfortable. We're watching the lead vehicle as it is up and down over these moguls. The three that, actually I guess there are 4 moguls that were built specifically to make this a little bit more difficult course and a little bit more like actual cross country. Those coaches and athletes that I've had a chance to talk to over the last couple of days have really enjoyed being out here on the course. Weather-wise, we've had pretty good luck. We are, probably just a little bit over 40 degrees. We can see some blue sky. We've had no rain whatsoever today, and the forecast is for whatever rain may occur will happen later in the day. So here comes the lead vehicle, and we can see Kangogo trying to duplicate his teammate Caroline Kurgat's effort, as he is the front runner in the green over black. Rivich on the far left, then Medina on his right. Now that's interesting. That's about exactly what separated the two of them at the end of 1,500 meters in the national championship. And they're the two men on the far left of your screen. Cal Poly Pomona having 2 men up front as well. That is a group that needs to be reckoned with. Cal Poly Pomona was the runner-up in the CCAA championships, and Ruben Dominguez, a senior out of Compton, an All-American. We talked about him being well-tested at the highest level of cross-country competition, and he is running at about the number 5 or 6 spot at this point in time, along with a teammate. They're the 9th-ranked team in the NCAA, and so certainly some high expectations this late morning. .908 at 3,000 meters. So we are still running sub 5-minute pace, and pretty metronomic, as a matter of fact. 3:05 and 3:04 each of the last kilometers for our leaders, and it is now beginning to break up a little bit. You can see on your screen that there are 15, maybe as many as 20, possibly even more than that in that front group, but then it's beginning to string out beyond that. 22, 23 men in that front-running group. All the people we expected to be up front are. They're, at this stage of the game, very few surprises, either team-wise or individually, but certainly lots of running to come. As we indicated, this is 10,000 meters or 6.25 miles, and most of these men are very comfortable at 5 miles, 8,000 meters, because that's what they've run all season long. But now, for, in most cases, the first time all season long, they're being asked to add another 10 minutes of running to their regimen, and we'll see whether that's going to make a large difference in the outcome. Tom Heineman, who is doing the public address announcing, has spent lots of time here on this course, this Ash Creek course, and he knows it well, and we're listening to him talk about what comes next. It's a left turn as they go down over that berm, and you can see heads, but you can't see much more of them, and they disappear to a certain degree at this point for a little while. And then they'll come back into view here in, about 10-15 seconds. Continues to be Ken Gogo at the front. Ribich shadowing him, as if there were shadows on a day like today. Ken Gogo was fourth in this Western Regional Championship a year ago, and ended up 34th in the national championships for the Sea Wolves. They are the number 16 ranked team in the country, and they've got plenty at stake, as do all of these teams. 3 are automatic qualifiers for the national championships in Evansville, and all the rest are going to have to wait until they get the word on Monday. Things are speeding up, and that's the reason you can see the change in that front group. 2:58 for that kilometer. That's the fastest of the 5 that we have covered so far. 12:06 at 4,000 meters, and there are some efforts being made to break away. Coming up to 5K, which is the midway point of this, and you can see Ribich there running with the gloves, the big red W on his chest. He is certainly the hometown favorite. Ken Gogo in the green and black of Alaska Anchorage. And Ruben Dominguez is the tall man, running in about 7th place for Cal Poly Pomona. He's in white and green. 5,000 meters upcoming here. Cal Baptist doing a nice job of packing their top men in the top 10. They've got 3 there, and Simon Fraser has 3 in the top 20. We know there are 2 from Cal Poly Pomona in that top dozen or so. 5,000 meters. Now we're just a couple of 100 meters away from that 5,000 mark. So the team battle appears to be Cal Baptist, Simon Fraser, and Alaska Anchorage here midway through this race. Chico biding their time. They are certainly the favorites. They're the defending champions here, the number 4 ranked team in the country, and their women were qualifiers as a 3rd place team earlier today, and they certainly would love to join the women on the trip to Evansville, and probably not much doubt that they will. They're just going to take their time doing what they need to do. So Western Oregon with 2, Ribich and Nading. Cal Poly Pomona has 2 in that front-running group. .15:09 at 5K. We've got course records here. Henry Chisetto, 29:29 in 2015. Of course, that was without the berms on the course at that point in time. A very fast 10,000 meter time in cross country of 29:29 is the course record. We're 15:09 through midway, and that last kilometer covered in 3:03. So once the burst occurred in kilometer number 4, things have begun to slacken off just a little bit, and there are still a dozen or more in that front-running group. And on the screen, you're seeing that left turn that will lead them back along the tree line, back into the berm area again for the second time. Ribbich is in the white over red, Western Oregon, and you can see the tall man in the white over green. That's Ruben Dominguez of Cal Poly Pomona. Ken Gogo, the black and green of Alaska Anchorage. And a typical cross-country crowd, full of energy and certainly willing to move around, unlike a lot of sporting activities where you sit on your hands throughout the course of the competition that you're watching. None of that going on this morning. In part, it's because people want to stay warm, and it's a little bit over 40 degrees, and I suspect for those in the Northwest, this is kind of balmy weather, but for us San Diegans, it's a little bit on the cool side. Great running weather, though. Not so good for standing and analyzing a race. They're coming back our direction now as they are into the berm area of the course. Total of about 1,800 meters on these berms that are named for Randy Lydham, who is our meet director. What an honor having a berm named for you. Lydham, of course, a 9-time NAIA All-American. Well, she was competing here at Western Oregon in both cross-country and track, and she's the meet director and has done a wonderful job of overseeing the operation that we are witnessing now. Oh boy. Bill Rowe, keeping track of our splits for us, has 6K at 18:04, 2:55. So that one picked up, and once again we have begun to pull that lead pack apart just a little bit. But there are still plenty of people there contesting the race. The man in the front with the yellow on the front, that is Dominguez. No, that's not Dominguez. That is his teammate, Ribbich, on the far right. And there is McMaster from Cal Baptist in the gold over blue. He is the Pac West champion. And that's the first time we've had an opportunity to mention his name, McMarshall Hartzenberg, freshman from South Africa, the Pac West champ, has put himself toward the front. Chico has now begun to make their move as a team. They've got 4 in the top 20. And Cal Poly Pomona has 2 in the top 10 and then 2 more in the top 40, so they are doing a nice job. so we believe that second man for Cal Poly Pomona is Christian Rodriguez. We know that Ruben Dominguez is up there toward the front, but those two men are doing a whale of a job for Cal Poly Pomona. They're the number 8 ranked team in the country, and pretty much on the bubble in terms of their ability to move into the national picture, and they are certainly doing very much to accomplish that this morning with those two guys there, and then 2 more in the next 20 or so runners as we head for 7,000 meters. We haven't mentioned Kyle Medina for a little while. Medina, of course, the senior from Chico State, was the NCAA runner-up at 1,500 meters. He was second in this Western Regional Championship a year ago, and then went on to finish 11th in the national championship. So he, in spite of the fact that he is noted as a 1,500 man, has shown several times that he is capable at 10,000 meters, and he's going to be one that we're going to count on to be there at the finish line in the top half a dozen or so. And we can make a little amendment in some of the split times. That 6th kilometer wasn't quite as fast as we indicated. We caught it at a wrong time. So pace stays pretty much the same. 3:03 for the last 2 kilometers, and then 3:04 for the one just completed through 7,000 meters at 21:16. Looks like there are about 8 running together at this point in time. Ken Gogo has surrendered the lead, but still very much in contact with the 7 in front of him. A little bit difficult to tell on our monitor who the leader is, but we'll get a chance to see them up close here pretty soon. Well, it looks like it's McMarshall Hartzenberg, the freshman from Cal Baptist, having made his way to the front of the pack and maybe trying to make a definitive move here. You can see him with a stride or so. Ribbich running comfortably, looking behind him in the white over red of Western Oregon. And there is Medina, now sandwiched between Hartzenberg and Ribbich. So that is the freshman from South Africa and Cal Baptist, McMarshall Hartzenberg, the Pac West champion. Then Ribbich shadowing him, and Medina within a stride in third for Chico. So it is Ribbich, Hartzenberg, Medina, Dominguez, Kangogo, Connor, it looks like Connor Fisher in about the number 8 spot for Chico. 2 from Chico, 2 from Cal Baptist, 3 now from Chico in the top dozen. Nading running in the top dozen or so for Western Oregon. And Chico has 5 men in the top, well, what do we guess, 25 or so, and there's their number 6, and looking strong at that. So it would appear to be Chico and Cal Baptist at this point in time as we are headed for 9,000 meters. And the other man that has made his way to the front, Gaetian Arrow of Academy of Art in San Francisco for the Urban Knights. He has made his way through the pack and running strongly at this point in time. Ribich on the left, Hartzenberg on the right, and Medina sandwiched just behind them. And then we believe that is Christian Rodriguez, who is running in fourth for Cal Poly Pomona. Well, we promised you an exciting foot race, and we are just about 1,000 meters away from the finish, and we definitely have an exciting one going. Unlike the women's race where Caroline Kurgat ran away with it by 28 seconds, this one may well come down to the last several strides. Yeah, this 10,000 meter distance is obviously taken a lot out of some of these young fellows who are not used to this distance, as the field is very, very strung out. In fact, there is the risk of some overlapping as the leaders are catching some of the stragglers. Yeah, we're not exactly sure what we're seeing on the monitor at this point in time. There are some parts of this course that are pretty difficult to get on the screen, and we may be in that position. Here comes the lead vehicle, with the Gator heading back this direction. And sure enough, it is going to be a shoulder-to-shoulder battle toward the finish. That is Ribich now, who has moved into a lead and beginning to generate some momentum as he makes the left turn and is about 350 meters away from the finish. David Ribich, we know he's got all sorts of speed, and he's showing a modicum of strength that some people had questioned whether he had enough to be able to do it here at 10,000 meters, and he is going to run away with this one in the last couple of hundred meters, and Kyle Medina will finish second. These two guys are familiar with one another, 1 and 2 in the spring at 1,500 meters, 1 and 2 in the West region. Medina looking over his shoulder, being sure he protects that second spot, but way up front now is David Ribich, much to the delight of the home crowd. What a terrific effort for him, as we've got 29, about 29:45 as he crosses through the line. Well, let's make it closer to 29:50, but Ribich the winner, with Medina finishing second. Let's see some results. And then McMaster is third. Cal Poly Pomona is a fourth place finisher. 29:50, the official winning time for David Ribich. I think he was 16th in this race a year ago, so on the heels of a sensational year last year during the spring, he is doing just as well here during the fall in cross country. Well, we're going to see if we can't get you some of the other finishers other than the ones that we've been talking about. We'll catch up here in just a moment as they're streaming across the line. And it's our guess that Chico State probably is going to be the team winners as they were a year ago, but we are certainly guessing at this point in time, and we'll pass that information along as soon as our ace spotter, Bill Rowe, is able to ascertain some team scores. Pretty good crowd here. This is a day on which Western Oregon is playing a home football game. It's their homecoming. They've got Azusa Pacific, and right behind us there is a women's rugby match going on. Nothing probably quite as exciting as what we're seeing here in this Western Regional Championship. It is the first round of the NCAA, actually, is what we are pleased to be able to call it. The second round is the finals in Evansville, Indiana. The top 3 teams and the top 2 individuals not on the qualifying teams will move on to Evansville in 2 weeks. And once again, our human computer, Bill Rowe, is working on giving us some unofficial team scores. So David Ribbich, the senior out of Enterprise, Oregon, school record holder at 1,500 meters, now makes his mark in cross country. And a big, strong mark it is, as he is our winner here this afternoon. We've got 29:50 as the official winning time for him. A large percentage of the Ribbich family on hand to watch their favorite son in his performance this morning. Continuing to work on some team scores here. We'll see if we can't pass that individual, or rather the team scoring along to unofficial here in just a moment. Jason Dormeyer, the sports information director here at Western Oregon, has done a wonderful job of keeping us up to date on what's going on and providing us with the information that we need to be able to pass along to you. And we certainly hope you've enjoyed this webcast. We had some information from some of the other regions around the country. There are 8 of them, and safe to say that we probably have webcast more of the regional championships than anybody else has, and thanks very much to the camera work of our students. We had 4 live cameras going today, and that was what enabled us to give you very large percent of all of the action in the men's and women's championship. And we're going to get a chance to talk to David Ribbich here in just a moment, as he probably is getting some pats on the back from family and Coach Mike Johnson, and we'll hear from him shortly. So let's get you some team scores. Chico with 55. It would look like the Wildcats are going to win their second in a row, and they're, I think it's like their 5th in the last 6 years. They've been pretty dominant here, as they have been in the CCA. They won 16 straight conference titles, has Chico State, and they're equally as dominant here. And now the next move, of course, is to try and retain that dominance as they move to Evansville.